Senator, I would be more concerned if I were you when you talk about corruption and money that when you pushed for legislation that would subsidize your wife's company.
The questions here are actually pretty specific. So having you respond with completely irrelevant far-right internet talking points really is not very helpful here.
Bondi just shut down Senator Sheldon Whitehouse in one of the most explosive confrontations ever seen in a Senate hearing. Whitehouse thought he was delivering a trap, but he got steamrolled by facts, confidence, and a fiery reality check. Bondi exposed dark money hypocrisy, nailed him on corruption double standards, and refused to play along with political theater. Watch the full takedown and subscribe for more explosive congressional showdowns, anti-corruption exposés, and courtroom-style breakdowns. Let's dive right in.
Ms. Bondi, good morning.
Good morning.
What became of the $50,000 in cash that the FBI paid to Mr. Homan in a paper bag, evidently?
Senator, as Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche recently stated, the investigation of Mr. Homan was subjected to a full review by the FBI, agents, and DOJ prosecutors. They found no credible evidence of any wrongdoing.
And that was not my question. My question was, what became of the $50,000 in cash that the FBI delivered, evidently in a paper bag, to Mr. Homan?
Senator, I'd look at your facts.
Are you saying that they did not deliver $50,000 in cash to Mr. Homan?
Senator, as recently stated, the investigation of Mr. Homan was subjected to a full review
different question.
by the FBI agents,
That's a
by
different
Department
question.
of Justice prosecutors. They found no evidence of wrongdoing.
That's a different question. What became of the $50,000? Did the FBI get it back?
Mr. Whitehouse, excuse me, Senator Whitehouse, you're welcome to talk to the FBI.
The report to you, can't you answer this question?
Senator Whitehouse, you're welcome to discuss this with Director Patel.
Did Homan keep the $50,000?
As Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche recently stated, the investigation of Mr.
Never mind.
Homan
I can
was
see I'm not going to get a straight answer from you to a very simple question.
by the FBI agents and the DOJ.
Do
They
you
found
know-
no credible evidence of wrongdoing. You know, you're very concerned about money and people taking money, and you rail against dark money.
Wait a second.
Yet you work with dark money groups all the time, Senator Whitehouse.
Did you know whether or not in that investigation they looked at whether the $50,000 payment to Mr. Homan was declared by him on his tax returns?
Senator, I would be more concerned if I were you when you talk about corruption and money that when you pushed for legislation that would subsidize your wife's company.
The questions here are actually pretty specific. So having you respond with completely irrelevant far-right internet talking points really is not very helpful here. I'd like, Mr. Chairman, you generally like to have us be able to get answers to know, and we'll follow up with the QFR. And to the extent Patel wants to answer, that would be great as well. What happened to the $50,000? Did Homan keep it? Did the FBI get it back? If he kept it, did he put it on his tax returns? Pretty simple questions. Homan was the same guy who said there was a deal with Eric Adams. He said, if Adams doesn't come through, I'll be back. I'll be in his office, up his butt, saying, where the hell is the agreement we came to? Which brings us to the OPR investigation of prosecutorial misconduct by Emil Bovee, because he was also involved in that transaction.
Yeah.
what became of the OPR investigation of prosecutorial misconduct by Emil Bovee?
Yeah, Senator Whitehouse, to correct you for one moment, that would be the Honorable Judge Emil J. Bovee III to you.
Not at the time of this. He was an employee of the Department of Justice. And what became of the OPR investigation?
It's all pending litigation,
misconduct?
Senator. I can't discuss pending litigation nor personnel matters.
OPR customarily publicly says when there's an investigation, and at the end of it, they provide a summary. Why can't you say whether there's an OPR investigation and whether, if it's concluded, there's a summary?
Senator, I'm not going to discuss personnel matters.
Even public ones.
Senator, I'm not going to discuss personnel matters.
So, Kash Patel told this committee that his grand jury testimony after immunization, after initially pleading the Fifth, was, and I quote, sealed by the Department of Justice. How and when and why was his testimony sealed, and by whom?
Senator, I'm not going to discuss any testimony, especially testimony that could be sealed with you.
No, the question is, was it or was it not sealed?
Senator, I'm not going to discuss that with you.
Well, he also said that he worked with the Department of Justice to have his transcript released publicly. How and when was his transcript released? Presumably, if he released it publicly, that's something you can discuss because it's public.
Well, Senator, I believe you discussed that with Director Patel.
And I'm asking you because he said the Department of Justice made this decision and you run the Department of Justice.
I would refer that to Director Patel.
Even
Pam Bondi walked into that hearing not to play games, not to participate in political theater, but to defend principle, uphold the rule of law, and protect the credibility of the justice system. And while Senator Whitehouse tried to corner her with rapid-fire insinuations and politically loaded questions, she didn't flinch, fold, or retreat. She held her ground, with discipline, clarity, and a commanding presence that turned the tables in real time. Every time he attempted to force a narrative, Bondi calmly reset the conversation back to facts. Every time he tried to trap her in speculation, she stood anchored in the truth and the law. And every attempt to pressure her into careless soundbites was met with measured, confident pushback that showed exactly why she has earned national respect. But what truly defined this exchange wasn't just her ability to parry his accusations, it was her willingness to hold him accountable. She exposed the glaring hypocrisy in his attacks, calling out his deep entanglements with dark money networks, highlighting conflicts of interest and reminding everyone watching that anti-corruption lectures ring hollow when they come from someone knee-deep in the political funding machine. And then she delivered the moment that resonated far beyond the hearing room, calling out the double standard and how certain investigations are politicized while others are ignored, and refusing to let selective outrage rewrite the truth or mislead the American public. Bondi's strength in this exchange wasn't aggression, it was poise. It wasn't emotional reaction, it was strategic control. She didn't match hostility with hostility. She didn't take the bait. Instead, she elevated the conversation, stayed within the boundaries of legal professionalism, and demonstrated what true confidence looks like, staying composed when others expect you to crack. By the end, Whitehouse wasn't leading the exchange, he was reacting to it. The moment he said bingo, he wasn't celebrating a victory, he was acknowledging one. Pam Bondi owned the room. She protected the integrity of the justice system. She stood firm against political pressure. And she reminded every viewer that leadership isn't about volume, it's about values, conviction, and courage in the face of antagonism. Pam Bondi didn't just win the moment, she reinforced why she remains one of the strongest, sharpest, most unshakable legal minds in public service today. And if this hearing proved anything, it's that when political theatrics collide with truth and discipline, truth wins, and Pam Bondi made sure of that.